Good evening, everyone. Just broadcasting live out of the Launceston Workers. 47th playing of the Harry Andrews Atkins Shield. This is the last round of games tonight. On the table that we're seeing in front of us is Carl Barrett, the defending Tasmanian snooker champion, going in against Charlie Chafe from Victoria. I can tell you that the scoreline is Victoria 29, Tasmania 16. There are 15 points up for grabs tonight, so Tasmania faces a big uphill battle to try and win back the Shield. This is the 47th playing. Victoria have a tremendous record in this event. They've won it 40 times. Tasmania only 6. We're just waiting for the guys. Luke Webb is the referee, runner-up in the Tasmanian Snooker Championship last year at this very venue. I'm just waiting to see who's going to break off. The event this year is brought to you by Vi Financial, who is the major sponsor of the Tasmanian Billiards and Snooker Association, also the major sponsor of the Northern, Northwest and the Southern Associations. This competition started on Friday evening, where we played a series of games, played most of this afternoon until approximately 3 o'clock, where we had a recess, and we had a gathering here in the club. Up in the billiard room tonight, we were playing 3 billiard matches and 2 snooker matches, and as you can see, the balls have been struck. And we've commenced the game, our only live stream game here this weekend, to commemorate the playing of the 47th Atkins Harry Andrews Shield, one of the oldest continuous head-to-head Q Sports team competitions in Australia. Anybody that's out there in cyberspace is listening to us, I would appreciate you dropping me a text message or a line. Just make sure that we're coming through okay. I'll be joined shortly in commentary by the President of the Tasmanian Billiards and Snooker Association, Mr. Rex Swain, and we've got a number of other speakers that will join us here in commentary. I'm probably not going to speak too much about the game because you can see it in front of you. I'm going to talk about some big things that are happening for Tasmanian snooker, particularly at the end of this month, where we're going to host the second running of the Ron Atkins Classic. This year we've joined in conjunction with the Pot Black, so it's going to be a double-barreled name. It's going to be known as the Ron Atkins Pot Black Tasmanian Open Snooker Championship. Entries close pretty soon, on March 10. In fact, entries are quite strong at this stage, and we've got a number of corporate partners that have come along this year, including Chris Tofi, who's a major sponsor of a number of events throughout Australia, major supporter of the Australian Billiards and Snooker Council, and of course Reventon is a big name in Q Sports in Australia, particularly in the billiards and snooker sphere. So Chris, if you're listening in, a big hello from all your friends here in Tasmania. We look very much forward to you catching up with us when the Ron Atkins Classic is played, which will be commencing on Thursday the 28th of March, with the final on the 31st of March here at the Launceston Workers Club here in Tasmania. Big hello to our normal listeners and Daryl Tippett from Victoria. The big fella is usually playing in this particular team's event, so he's a face that we sorely miss. He was a hero some years ago, I think in 2014 at the Burning Club, when he won the final match of the night against Greg Watt of Tasmania to clinch it 6-5 for Tasmania. I've just been joined in commentary by the Tasmanian Billiards and Snooker Association President, Mr. Rex Swain from Launceston. So good evening, Rex.
G'day, Robert.
Did you want to make some comments, particularly maybe around the Ron Atkins Classic Pot Black tournament that's coming up shortly? I'm just checking to see whether we might just start that again, Rex. You mightn't have been online. So
Might not have been, Robert. Well, look, you know, it's very exciting. This is our second national ranking tournament. We did an excellent job, in our opinion, with the last one. We just need to get this one going because we've got the attention, as you said earlier, with a lot of people who are sponsors of sport in Australia and Tasmania. So we just, it closes in a few days' time. So those people that are, that maybe the Tasmanians or the the national players that need to get their entry in, please do that in the next couple of days, because it will be a very special event again.
Yeah, no, agreed, Rex. Very much looking forward to it. We're obviously going to be assisted by Paul Cosgriff, who was, let's say, our white knight last year in terms of running a lot of things tournament-wise. So I'm looking forward to catching up with Paul. And indeed, the calibre of players that we had at last year's event, we're hoping that Matthew Bolton will come back and defend his title. I'm not sure where he's at the moment, but I do recall him giving me a little bit of a solemn promise, because I did indicate I was retiring, and he said, well, please don't retire. If you come back next year, I'll come back. So I'm waiting with bated breath to see if his entry's in the system. Having said that, we've got a few entries here this weekend from some of our Victorian and Tasmanian colleagues who have turned up to play in the 47th Andrews Atkins Shield. Just while we're looking at the games in progress, I can give you an update. Tasmania unfortunately trail 29 to 16. There are 15 points available in the pool of matches here tonight, so mathematically Tasmania have to win every one of those. They're live chances in many of the matches, and obviously the focal point that we're watching here tonight live is Carl Barrett, who's the defending Tasmanian snooker champion from the northwest coast, going in against one of Australia's top ranked players in Charlie Chafe from Victoria. And coincidentally, Luke Webb, who was runner-up to Carl last year in the Tasmanian Snooker Championship, is refereeing. So I'm not sure if that's some sort of punishment or not, Rex. I don't know. But
well, it could be, Robert. But looking to three weeks from now, just a call to those people that haven't got their entry in, and we know that snooker players are often fairly late to put their entry in. Snooker players are gathering in Sydney this week for the Oceania Championship, and of course that has significance for the top players that want to vie for places on the WPBSA tour. But get your entries in, please, fellas, and we'll see you in Launceston in 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, exactly, Rex. And if you're wondering why we're not concentrating on the match and calling the shots or the cue shots, this was very expertly done last year by brother Les and Chris Christophe, is that you can see the action on the screen, and I think we're more sitting back. We're actually sitting on a lounge suite, which is a long way away from the action, I might say, the actual table. So we're watching it on the TV screen. So the pictures we're getting is what you guys out there in on the websites and all that kind of thing are watching. So appreciate any feedback in terms of commentary and how the picture's coming through, because this is what we're going to be expecting when we come to the Ron Atkins Classic at the end of the month. And so anything that you can send us where we can fine-tune and maybe do a little bit better job, then we would greatly appreciate that. I might just add, Rex, that this year, a bit of an exciting development, Vive Financial has come on board as the major sponsor of the Tasmanian Billiards and Snooker Association, and also is going to sponsor the 3 affiliates, which is the Southern, Northern and Northwest Association. So the first time that, in my memory, we have a consolidated statewide sponsorship. They've also parted with some dollars towards the Ron Atkins Pop Black tournament. But of course we can't forget Events Tasmania, which is the government arm. Of course, Chris Christophe, like the wonderful work that Reventon do around Australia, particularly with Australian Council, and we're going to see obviously Chris here at the end of the month. He's going to be a player in the tournament, and I look forward to catching up with him and hopefully his ideas in developing the game going ahead.
And Robert, Launceston City Council was a sponsor last year, and they are again this year. We thank them for their involvement, and we hope to, in time, put some of our effort towards junior players in Tasmania. And I guess that's the reason why the City Council and others are involved, because they would like to see players in our region developed so they can play like this, like Charlie and Kale in years to come.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've had a great few days here. The Launceston have hosted the Harry Andrews Atkins Shield for a couple of years now. This tournament is played biennially, so it's played in Tasmania one year and Victoria the next. In 2022, which might sound a long way away, but it's galloping up on us, but the 50th playing will actually be hosted by Victoria. 2022, we believe it will be held at the RACV Club in Melbourne, and there are already plans afoot to cast the net wide to probably get past players. A number of key identities who have been closely associated with this event, and just by way of information, out of this particular tournament, so we're just talking about Victoria versus Tasmania, we've had 6 world champions, would you believe? We've had multiple winners of national championships, Oceania championships and junior championships over the course of the 47th playing of this. So it's been a feeding ground in many respects. It's been a sought after trophy to actually play for your state, and the fact that it's continued for 47 years is a great testament to two great friends. Sadly, the late Ron Atkins, who passed away in 2017. I don't need to go into Ron's credentials because they speak for themselves, but a doyen of the game. Had a message and a photo from Harry Andrews today, who's still pretty well, pretty sprightly. Ian Dale kindly shared a photo with us today, and we sent it round all the players. So, you know, we've had a really positive vibe. Victoria flew in on Thursday afternoon. They like to arrive a day earlier and do some stuff, as you do. We played some matches on Friday night. We played again this morning and this afternoon, and this is the final session, which features 3 billiard games over 1 hour. There are 2 snooker matches currently in progress over the best of 5 frames in the billiard room, and of course down in what's going to be known in a couple of weeks' time, the Robin McAnulty room. We're seeing the match between Carl Barrett, defending Tasmanian snooker champion, going in against Charlie Chafe, one of Australia's top ranked players.
And Robert, it's probably timely to give Alex Pace a plug, because Alex has just come back from the Oceania Under-21 Championships in New Zealand, where Alex was the winner. So playing here this weekend, but he's an Oceania champion.
Yeah, and a brilliant, what a great match that was. And we were able to get a YouTube or a live feed of that particular match, and the guy that he played, I think of his name right at the minute, but made a 128 break in a frame, and it looked a bit dire there for Alex, but not to be outdone, he came in and banged in an 80 and a 70, and went on to win that particular final 6 frames to 4 after trailing. 3 frames to 1, so, you know, all hats off to Alex. Alex is actually playing Paul Thomason at the moment up in the billiard room.
Well, Robert, I'd probably better vacate this seat, because we have a commentator waiting to come and tell you what's happening in the match, and it's getting down to the end of this frame now. Kyle 25 and Charlie 30. So if you like, I'll move aside and we'll get Grant Medley to come in and have a talk. Yeah,
that sounds good, Rex.
Right. Put your entries in, fellas, and see you in Launceston 3 weeks' time.
Well said. Thank you, Rex. So just back to the live action. We've got 5 reds remaining on the table, so the frame's very much alive. You can see by the scoreboard, Charlie leads 32 to 25. 15 points available tonight. Tasmania trails Victoria 29 to 16, so not a lot of wiggle room for the home state. This is the 47th playing of this time-honoured event. It's the longest continuous head-to-head Q Sports competition in Australia, to my knowledge. Probably rivalled only by the ANI tournament, which I understand has probably been going for 50 odd years, but we're talking about state to state now, so we're talking about Victoria versus Tasmania. The idea behind this tournament was born out of the friendship of 2 very great players and very good friends in Ron Atkins and Harry Andrews. And the reason why it is called the Andrews Atkins Shield is that Harry Andrews and Ron Atkins actually played a best of 9 frame match to decide top billing on the Shield. So, and if you can imagine at that stage, Ron Atkins was a multiple Victorian champion, runner-up in the 1980 World Amateur Snooker Championship to Jimmy White at the Albert Hall here in Launceston. But Harry Andrews was no slouch himself, a City of Melbourne winner, and multiple other tournaments. So sadly in August 2017 Ron Atkins OAM parted, but left us with a great legacy of snooker in Australia, and it's a really great privilege Tasmania have of hosting the second playing of, and I'll still refer to it as the Ron Atkins Classic, but of course this year the key component is the joining of the Pop Black component, which is Consolidated Leisure and Sport, so great to welcome them on board. I'll just welcome into commentary Grant Medley. He's no stranger to Tasmania. He's had a number of visits down here, and as always we look forward to seeing his smiling face. And so Grant, you probably take over and say a few words if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, good evening, Robert. It's good to be in Tasmania again for another Andrew Atkins Shield. It's great to hear the history of the Shield and where it did come from. I wasn't aware of the background of the Shield. I've just got Charlie here.
Oh, yeah, that's it there.
Yeah, Charlie's got a slight lead here. He had a first match against Alex Pace. He won that 3-0, I believe. So he's playing quite well, Charlie. Seen some good matches this weekend.
Yeah, look, at a top flight competitor, and I think we've twisted his arm just quietly. He wasn't playing in the Ron Atkins Pop Black Championship, but I think after a few of us got behind and twisted his arm, we can expect to see him back here in Launceston in a few weeks' time, and that's great.
Yeah, Charlie's too good a player not to play in all these events. He's one of the best players in Australia, an ex-Australian Open champion.
Let's see, Andrew Saltmarsh from Q Sports doing his bits and pieces and getting you some good camera angles. We're live here at the Launceston Workers Club in Tasmania. It's the 47th playing of the Andrews Atkins Shield. Victoria lead at this stage 29 to 16 with 15 points available. So as I said before, when Rex departed, not a lot of wiggle room for the home state, unfortunately. Victoria lead 40 to 6 in this particular competition. It's been going 47 years, but there's been some classic battles over the years where we've had black ball finishes and 6-5 results and all sorts of things. So
it's interesting to see the selection criteria for both states. Obviously, Tasmania use their state finals, etc., to select their teams. Victorians have a lot of camaraderie with their team. They've been together for quite some while. Obviously Daryl's not here this weekend. No, I heard you sent a shout out to Daryl. But yeah, it's a great team Victoria have. They stick together and a great team spirit.
I'll just tell you, for the people that weren't here last night, I saw a classic match between Brendan Taylor and Jared Wicks that came down to a black ball finish, 3-2. Brendan got up, but really the quality of that match in the finish, if you watch snooker like that all the time, you'd come and watch snooker every day of the week. It was a fantastic match and a great finish, and Victoria pinched Tassie's pocket, so to speak.
Yeah, Brendan was 2-0 down in that game, so he did well to come back from that, and he had a great clearance there and to win the match.
And just for those who've tuned in late, this year we had 10 players in each team, so each state is represented by 6 snooker players, and they play what's called a double opponent. So if you're a number 1 in the team, you get to play the number 1 and 2 player. We have 3 billiard players, and they get to play each other over 1 hour, so they feature in all 3 sessions. And this year we didn't have the junior player, but I'm sure we'll rectify that in years to come. And the 2 women that squared off this weekend were Anna Lynch, who's been a perennial for Victoria in the last few years, and we always look forward to catching up with Anna, and she played Denzel McGifford, was runner-up in our state championship last year to Kylie Bellinger, who's away playing in the Oceania Women's. They had a pretty interesting tussle last night. It was 3-2, but Anna stamped her class all over the match today, and she didn't give Denzel a look in their second matchup, so to speak. I was fortunate enough to referee that up close and personal, and she played very, very well, very polished.
We've just got Kale here. He's on the colours. 11-point lead, so this blue required for the frame. The centre pockets on this table, they aren't too generous, so he'll be taking his time over this shot.
As you can see, this is the frame ball.
So one snooker required here.
57.41, 13 available on the table. This is the first frame in a best of 5 frames match, so a race to 3. You're watching Carl Barrett, who's the Tasmanian snooker champion, going against one of Australia's top-ranked players in Charlie Chafe. This is the final session of the 47th playing of the Harry Andrews Ron Atkins Shield, being played at the Launceston Workingmen's Club in Tasmania, which is the venue and the host for the Ron Atkins Pot Black Tasmanian Open Snooker Championship, which will commence on March 28 to March 31, so Thursday to Sunday, only a few weeks away. Entries close in the next few days, the 10th of March. And as Rex Swain, the state president, said before, and it's systematic of, or symptomatic, I should say, of some of the players. They tend to leave it to the last minute, and that's fine, but please get your entry in. It's going to be a big tournament. We've got a number of new corporate sponsors along for the ride here this year, and that includes Vi Financial, which you can see on your screen now at the moment, the major sponsor of the Tasmanian Association, along with the other 3 affiliates. I was just saying to Rex before, Grant, it's the first time we've managed to get a consolidated sponsorship across all of Tasmania.
Yeah.
So one branding, so to speak, and let's hope that's a fruitful venture going forward and a great relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. We've just seen an update with the score there. We're wondering why Charlie was going for that pink. We had 16 points different on the score, but it's been adjusted to 10 points of difference now.
So we better just concentrate on this action, because we kind of thought that Cal didn't need the ping.
So that's worked out well there for Kale. That's a tricky shot there for Charlie.
I meant to ask you, sorry to put you on the spot, are you coming over? You thinking of playing? Or
No, look, I don't really play in snooker tournaments these days, and I haven't for quite some time. Especially travelling to state, it's hard to justify when I'm not playing snooker, period. It's the same for billiards at the moment too. It's been a busy period of my life, and unfortunately haven't had the time to put into the game. In saying that though, I've been to this venue quite a few times now, and it's great to see the improvement in the venue, and obviously the tables are great tables now. They've put a lot of work into these tables, and they're top class facilities.
Yes, that's right. And I think, look, they'll only get better. There's some good plans afoot with the Launceston Workers Club in terms of upgrading their amenities, and particularly the tables. This is currently a 4-table venue, but come a few weeks' time it will be a 6-table venue, and we'll subdivide the venue, as I call it, so we'll end up with 3 separate rooms. One will be the Ron Atkins room, then we'll have the Robin McAnulty room, and then of course the Reventon room, which is the major sponsors room, where the show tables will be, and where we'll do our live stream and commentary. So I'm very much looking forward to that, catching up with Australia's elite players, and of course glove in hand watching some top quality snooker.
Yeah, it's a great pot there from Kale to finish that frame.
So Carl wins the first frame of a best of 5 frames match, so obviously a race to 3. This is the final session of the 47th playing of the Harry Andrews Ron Atkins Shield. Broadcasting live with Grant Medley out of Launceston, Tasmania. Luke Webb is the referee for this final session. Up in the billiard room, there are 3 billiard matches we're going to be playing here this evening. The snooker, Paul Thomason is playing Alex Pace, who recently won the Oceania Under-21 Snooker Championship in New Zealand in Hawke's Bay. So we're probably down here, Grant, and we're probably wishing we could get a bit of a peekaboo of the other match. So I'm sure Alex and Paul will be a bit of a contest as well.
Yeah, look, we might try and get some updates from the other room when we can, and give the viewers a bit of an idea what's happening.
Just letting you know that Grant and I are actually watching off a TV screen, so what we're seeing is what you're seeing. The actual table is some distance away in the background, and so we're relying on camera angles, and that's why I tend not to go into the commentary side of calling the shots, because sometimes the camera can be a little bit deceiving, and I'll let the folks at home make up their own mind in terms of shot selection. And
I must say though, this camera is very, very good. The camera angle's great. It's nice and low. It doesn't give a distorted view of the table. That's a great cut there. No,
we've put, there's been separate funding that's been set aside the last couple of years to keep upgrading this equipment. We recognised some time ago that to remain relevant, we had to be out there in cyberspace as a caller to, on the Facebook sites and all that kind of thing. So we can't get on Fox Sports, and we can't be seen in the media, but this is another medium for us people to sit back and get on your laptop, your PC, your iPad or whatever, and watch some top quality snooker.
Yeah, absolutely. And anyone who's actually watching this footage, if they could share their link for this match on their social media and get more viewers, it's obviously good for sponsors to have some exposure, and good for the game.
Now, I'm not sure if this is an open secret or not, but I heard this afternoon the big fella's getting married. I heard a whisper that Daryl Tippett might be...
I did hear that. It's
with Wendy and...
on what they call it, Star Wars Day, May the 4th. Yeah, it's...
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of the new Victorian Darrens mentioned it was on that date. So, yeah, well done, big fella.
He's been seriously a revelation, and been a really good friend to Billy the Snooker in Tassie. You know how you take a shine to certain people, and when he came along, he was larger than life. Because he's quite a big fellow, tall fellow, but likes a drink and a good laugh, like we all do, and a good player. Yeah, he is a very good player. Played a classic match at the Burnie Club some years ago against Greg Watt of Tasmania. At that stage it was under the old format, so we were locked at 5-all and came down to the final frame. It was a black ball finish, and we were standing room only in the Burnie Club, and Darryl drove the stake through the heart of the Tasmanians, unfortunately.
Charlie got very lucky there. He played that last shot with a lot of check side, and he's landed on a red. He's still giving the balls a bit of a thump at the moment, the old Charlie. He's
throwing the cue at them, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just in case you've joined us late, I'm here live in commentary with Grant Medley. We're watching the final session, 47th playing of the time-honoured Atkins Shield, which is a match between Victoria and Tasmania. First conducted in 1973 at the Bentley Club. Victoria has an impressive record of 40 wins against Tasmania's 6. We've been lucky enough, Tasmania won the 30th and the 40th playing. So some years ago, the Victorians, I'm not sure, they were a little bit spooked out about that particular 50th number, so we played out of turn, and Victoria came to Tasmania twice, so the 50th playing is going to be at their ACV in 2022, and I can tell you now that's going to be a grandiose affair. Plans are well underfoot to do a number of things, particularly with our past players who are still around who have played in this particular tournament. I think I mentioned the Rex before, and you'd probably be aware of this, Grant, that We've had 6 world champions that have actually come through this particular tournament.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name them all just top of my head. Steve Misfit comes to mind, obviously, and Robbie Falvari.
Yeah.
But over the years, every player that's played in this tournament's either won nationals, Oceanas, underage, open events, you name it. So
Yeah, I believe a young Neil Robinson played 1 year too.
that's correct, yep. And even our own major sponsor, Chris Christopher,
Yes.
played in it several times going back over the way, and I was pleased to see his entry come in along with George Spiteri, a friend known to many Q Sports enthusiasts in Tasmania, because George was one of the faces, or the photography face, let's say, of Goldfields when the pros were playing up at Bendigo. So he's actually a competitor this year, and he was also a player in this field many years ago.
Yeah, and both players did come through to junior ranks, probably a little bit later than Neil. Speaking of Neil, Neil's this morning made the final of the Coral Players Championship. So he'll be playing the winner of Mark Allen and Ronnie O'Sullivan. So they're playing tonight,
gosh,
and
yeah.
Neil will be playing, I believe, Sunday morning our time.
He's still doing good things, Neil. I tuned into the Welsh Open and a couple of the other ones. They're usually late on Fox, or you get them on a cycle on 5:04. And you know, even the great player Ronnie O'Sullivan, but probably not the player he was, but man, what a showman!
Yeah.
When he turns it on, it's just a treat to watch.
Yeah, Ronnie's very comfortable at the moment with his playing schedule. Obviously, he's not playing as many tournaments, and it's obviously doing him a lot of good. It's a good shot there. You want that to pull up for the green.
Looks like he's got an angle to come back here. Just
There's a tight bunch of reds there. It's no gimme to get on a red here. Got the brown covering the top right-hand pocket.
Your eyes are better than mine. I thought it was a red,
Yep.
so there you go. It was.
He's want to get rid of that brown now. Yeah, he's relying on a bit of luck there with the
Needs
reds.
a little bit of luck. Needs a kiss. Didn't quite get it. Yeah, so if anybody's tuned in live, look, drop me a text message or share something on the Facebook side. I know Andrew Saltmarsh is monitoring those. We like to see our stats and to see who's online and who's watching and all that kind of stuff. And just a last shout out, if you haven't entered the Ron Atkins Pot Black Tasmanian Open Snooker Championship, which is going to be conducted from the 28th of March to the 31st of March, here at this venue at the Launceston Workers Club, please get your entries in. Tournament's going to be a little bit bigger this year. We've got some good money going towards the consolation plate. Not that the players are entering to play in that. They're obviously looking to win the bigger dollars, but there's also something around for the players that might, you know, have a bad first round match and be knocked out and able to come into the repechage.
Yeah, it's funny, the old repechage competitions was actually the first time I met Cale. We played in the City of Melbourne competition, and we actually got paired up together as a doubles partners for the repechage, and we actually won the competition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we played Hassan and someone else in the final, but
Yep.
yeah, first time I met young Cale. That was a few years ago. Cale's developed into a fine player.
Yeah, he certainly is, and you saw Luke Webb just ghost into the picture there. He's the referee. He was runner-up to Carl at this venue last year in the Tasmanian Open Snooker Championships. So you can see how we punish those players that are runners-up. We make them referee.
Yes.
Their counterparts. I'm only joking because Luke was part of the team. He was the number 3 player in our team this year, and got a bit of a system where we have some accredited referees, and of course we obviously use some of the players in some of the many matches we now play under the double player format.
That's a great shot there from Charlie. So the pink's occupying the black spot at the moment. I'm not sure if it spots below that red there. We'll soon find out.
Still got a shot, so
He's on the wrong side of this red here, so it's a tough shot to get on the colour. Yeah, bridging on over the ball there. He couldn't get through the ball.
no, couldn't get enough purchase on it.
He's just looking at this blue. It's he doesn't mind these blues, Charlie.
You can see Andrew Saltmarsh has got in there early. He's got that Reventon logo up in that top left-hand corner of the screen, and of course they are the major sponsor for the big event here in a few weeks' time. So we like to get in and promote our sponsor a little bit earlier. So hopefully Chris gets a chance to look at the YouTube feed of this a little bit later on, and we look forward to seeing him in a couple of weeks' time. Pretty sure he very much enjoyed the commentary last year. He was able to sit in, and he pretty much sat through the two semi-finals and the final, and I'm not being biased or anything, but the commentary that came out of the couple of guys that sat there all day was the best I've heard for a lot of years. They were all over it.
Yeah, Chris doesn't mind jumping in the commentary box. I think it's great to get him involved, and that's very unlucky there.
Absolutely. And I think being a player, which Chris was obviously, and I'm not sure if he's still having a hit and all that sort of thing. He's obviously very, very busy with his business, but it just helps. It adds that extra layer because he's able to talk about some business things or commercial things that we need to do from time to time, and obviously talk about the game in a very astute way. So hopefully we can get the pairing again with him and brother Les. Get them sitting down together. They had a few laughs last year, and
so another tight frame here. Charlie has a 9-point lead. A bit of safety play. Carl's just having a look at where these reds are going to end up. He won't. He's taking the front red. It might be on past the black. It is.
Yep.
And I dare say we'll be seeing a safety shot here.
Yep, absolutely.
Charlie did attempt a slow safety towards the green earlier and left it short.
That's right. Carl's turned defence into attack here, so it's pretty much mandatory. He's got to hit a red.
He's played that well.
Safely, he's done very well out of that.
Yeah. Pretty similar shot on here, I dare say, to his last shot. He'll be looking at this red past the other red. Let's see if he can duplicate that last shot.
Big hello to Steve Carroll, Leanne Atkins, Ian Dale, my daughter Kerry. I'm just going down through some of the text messages I've been receiving, my partner Carol. So what's happening? They've all switched off the TV and they're watching snooker. Who would have thought?
Yeah. It's obviously no Married at First Sight on tonight, or one of those shows.
Or Home and Away, so
Home
whatever
Away,
they watch, or My Kitchen Rules. So no, it's good that people are tuning in and just diversifying.
Yeah.
As I say, it's a bit of a short sprint tonight, as we'd call it. It's only a best of 5 frames match, so there's only one match here on tonight, and we just thought we'd get on the airwaves and say hello to a few people and try and give a plug for the upcoming tournament. So Fowler Miss just been played. It'll be interesting to see what he actually does here, whether he puts him back or plays the shot, because there is an opening. And it's the old rule, if you send the player back in and they get safety and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think he'll be playing this shot. It's a fairly straightforward red down to the blue.
Yep.
So he wants to land low on that blue, which he has.
Well spotted. I'm just looking around to see if there's somebody there can wander into the room and give us an update on the scores that are happening in that room. So I'm just looking around. I'm looking at the president of the Launceston Workers Club, Lionel Young. I'm just wondering if you can give us an update on the billiards and the snooker matches in the other room so we can tell all of our listeners out in cyberspace. There's Paul Thomason and Alex Pace particularly. I know a few people have texted me and said, how's that match going? And I'll get Lionel back here shortly just to say a few words on behalf of the club. That way I can have a bit of a drink and take a break and...
So Charlie's landed high on this blue here. He might force an angle round or drop it in and take a long red. Knowing Charlie, I dare say he's going to take a low colour and try and get back up, which he is.
Yep.
Let's see how he goes here.
Yes, he's going to be okay. The
Yeah.
TV angle will give you the indication it's close, but it looks fairly square.
It's a great shot. He's got an...
He's in the driver's seat here, I'd say. Very much in the driver's seat. So there's only one person who can beat Charlie, and that's Charlie at the moment.
Yeah.
I see him clearing out unless he goes too far on this. No. Well weighted.
So these balls are perfect here for Charlie to clear up. We'll see how he goes. A slight angle on the black. And that's perfect.
Yep, played it spot on. Maybe could have gone a few inches further up, but maybe had a draw back. I don't know, Grant. What's your call?
Well, the green's off the spot here, so
yeah, so it's just in the it's not in the optimum position, but no, he's done it very well. So we're looking like, well, in fact we are heading to 1-1 in a best of 5 frames match, so a race to 3. Won't go too much early crow. I have been caught before on these things.
Yeah. So we've got a frame ball here. Yeah, a few of the players have been struggling with pace off the cushions on this table. It's
This is a table that's going to be completely reworked in the next few weeks. It was one that had some remedial. Great shot there, Charlie. Last time when we played the tournament last year, but this is one we're concentrating on for this year. So we're hoping he, it's academic now, but probably punches in the middle or go down the bottom.
that's a
nice
clearance.
finish, very classy finish. Just in case you've joined us live in commentary, Grant Midley, and it's Rob Higgins. We're broadcasting out of the Launceston Workers Club. This is the playing of the 47th Andrews Atkins Shield. I'm just about to be joined in commentary by Lionel Young, who's probably going to sit down here and share a few moments with Grant, some commentary. Lionel's the president of the Launceston Workers Club, and he'll be able to give you a score update on the Paul Thomas and Alex Pace match. So I'll take a breather and I'll come back and join Grant shortly.
So this match moves to 1-1. Lionel will be joining us soon. Gives an update of the other matches. This table you see on the screen at the moment, which Robert just mentioned, I dare say it's one of the oldest tables in Australia. It's I've dated the table anywhere between 1837 to 1850. You can see the skinny leg. It's a Thurston table with Her Majesty Queen Victoria on the plaque. So I've actually dated the table between that time period. And we're joined by Lionel now, who's going to give us an update on the other games in the other room.
Well, I've just been up having a look at the billiards, and in the earlier match, Jason Colebrook defeated Mick Pollard. Jason scored 310 and Mick Pollard 156. Jason made a top break of 56, a 43 and a 30. And in the game that's currently underway at the moment, David Cosgrove is playing Steve Cowie. They've only been going about 18 minutes. And David is leading 90 points to 20.
Okay. So Jason Colebrook has a slight lead in that match. Jason had a 106 break earlier today. He had to pot the opponent's ball on 93 to make 97, and yeah, made a nice 106 break. How have you been enjoying the billiards and snooker this weekend?
I've been thoroughly enjoying it. It's been excellent for the club here, and particularly for our members to come in and watch these high-class matches. Some very, very good form being shown on both the billiards and snooker tables, and it's a real privilege for the Launceston Workers Club to be hosting the games. And
Robert filled the viewers in about some of the plans you have for the club in the future, and obviously the event coming up at the end of the month. Some exciting times for the club.
Yes, well, the Ron Atkins Classic at the end of this month, that's correct. There's already been a lot of planning going in place based on the inaugural event that was held last year. We learned a whole lot about organising a national ranking tournament, but the feedback that we had from the players was absolutely excellent, very encouraging for us to do it all again this year, and so we're very pleased that the Australian Billiards and Snooker Council felt that we should give it another go. So, and I'm told the entries are reasonably good, so we're looking forward to another highly successful tournament, the Ron Atkins Classic.
Yeah, with snooker entries in these tournaments, it's a typically done thing for players to leave it to the last minute to get into these events, and obviously anyone who's watching and they're thinking of entering the event, the venue is fantastic, the tables are fantastic, and obviously the hospitality is second to none. The Tasmanian Association always put on a great event. I've just got Charlie at the table here with a tricky red.
There's a lot of very good safety played with the top players. They seem to pick up the pace of the tables very quickly, and very often you'll see that white ball down on that bottom push in a safe area. So it becomes a very testing exercise for the players to get that pot in to be able to make a break.
Yeah. And obviously to be a top class player, you have to have a safety game. It's a very crucial part of the game.
Yes.
The KO won't be too happy with that. He's left a red here to come behind the black.
I've been very impressed with Charlie Chase's game. He's obviously a quality player. I've never seen him play before, but the games that I've seen him play here this weekend, he's so cool, calm and collected.
Yeah.
He's a real pleasure to watch.
Yeah, look, his demeanour does not change very often. You know, Charlie has won the Australian Open title. He's been runner-up in the Australian National, possibly the City of Melbourne. Yeah, look, Charlie's one of the leading players in Australia, and you know, Charlie's been quite busy studying at the moment with his courses at uni, and he hasn't had much time to put into the game, but he doesn't take a player like Charlie long to get back into the swing of things.
He certainly has a natural ability that goes with it.
So Charlie's just seeing if this red goes past down to the bottom pocket. Which it does. That's a great shot.
That's a very nice shot.
So not many reds on here. There's a red below at the bottom of the pack that does go in the centre, or he might be playing up the table, which he is. Yeah. That bottom red there does go. He will need to get into this pack at some stage.
Yes.
It's fantastic to have sponsors involved in our sport, such as Reventon, Chris Christophe. And I've heard the Tasmanian Association now has a sponsor for all areas.
Yes. Yes, and no doubt that Robert Higgins has had a great deal to do with that. He's always at the forefront of organising sponsorship, him and the state president, Rex Swain. And we're very grateful for the efforts that they put in to make our game such a success with such promising future that we have here. But we do have a lot of younger players that we're focusing on here, particularly in northern Tasmania. We're endeavouring to establish a Q Sports Academy here. It's one of our targets for next year.
Yeah.
It's a project I think this club can host very successfully, and so that's one of the things that we're going to be working on developing as part of the Launceston Workers Club.
Yeah, look, I think it's a dream of all states to have an academy of some description. Obviously, a lot of work happens behind the scenes to try and establish. Obviously, some states have tried and to get governments involved, etc.
Yes.
Each state is different. Tasmania seems to be a bit more sports orientated than other states, and hopefully that goes ahead.
Yes. Well, one of the aspects we're really keen to promote is the pathway for our younger players, that they can actually see ahead the opportunities where they can go in the game.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of really good players that are willing to step up and assist our younger players. So this is a particular focus we're going to have. We probably haven't had that stronger focus in years gone by.
Yeah.
But notwithstanding that, Tasmania has really produced some fine young players.
Yeah.
Particularly with Kurt Dunham and Alex, and of course Cale, and Luke and Hobart. They're all very good young players.
So Charlie's on 38 here. He's got one more loose red into the centre pocket. He's just checking the other reds there to see if they're open anywhere else. So he would like to angle on this pink.
Is he looking at a plant there, do you think?
It's hard to tell here, but he'd be trying to get an angle here. Looks like he's screwing back for the black.
Yeah.
No, he's running through.
That's what he's done. Yes, it's a good shot.
So he's left an angle here to screw into the pack. Hoping just for a nice spread here. He won't be too happy with that. He's hard up on the rail. The pink does spot.
Do you think he'll take the red to the bottom pocket?
Yeah.
Play for blue?
The red towards the centre pocket's just going to put him into the pack, so I dare say we'll attempt this.
Yes.
He'll be just running through for the blue. That looks good. Oh, that's a shame.
That is.
It's a nice 45 break there from Charlie.
Great start.
Still plenty of points available here for Cale. A couple of loose reds open here.
We'll be looking at the brown ball, I believe.
That's unlucky not to land on that red. Yeah, plenty of room to land there.
They'd like to be going down to the bottom cushion here.
Yeah.
Yes.
A shot to nothing there from Charlie.
No, he's played it really well.
Yeah.
I must say this Andrews Atkins Shield concept has been a great initiative and been very long standing. 47 years.
47 years. It must be one of the longest running interstate competitions in any sport, I dare say.
Yes, and
what a fantastic pot.
yes, very nice absolutely potted.
He's disturbed that little pack of reds there too, so I'll open up a few more reds.
Maybe looking at a blue this time.
Yeah, he'll be playing just below centre here, taking it down the line at the table. Oh, he's gone into the pack.
Well, that's a surprise miss.
Yeah.
I would think Charlie might be in with a very good opportunity here.
Yeah, the black's obviously on into the bottom left-hand corner here. Not sure if it goes into the right. He will need that eventually, but where the reds are, I'd expect Charlie to take the frame from here. So he's going to come back up behind the black here.
Correct.
And now this red will be gone and both pockets are open.
I can't help but notice that Charlie, the way he plays his game, he fairly well knows his shot selection in advance, and he doesn't spend a lot of time walking around the table thinking about it.
Yeah, he's a very fluent player, and times the ball fantastic. And I think with someone like Charlie and anyone who's got natural ability, once you think about things and overcomplicate it, it really affects your game. There's a lot of players that do play at a good pace, and you know, if they start to bog down in their thoughts, then they start to miss.
Exactly.
Just a tricky little rest shot here, but the frame's well and truly won. Yeah. Let's see if Caleb comes back to the table.
Well,
he's just checking the scoreboard now.
There's a very big...
he's conceded
that frame. Yes. Well, Charlie played very well there.
He did,
very confidently.
Yeah, nice 40-odd break, and Charlie takes a 2-1 lead in this best-of-5 match. So the boys are getting through the frames quite quickly. Now, Robert also mentioned you've got a number of tables coming in for the tournament in the end of March. You've got 3 more tables coming, or 2 more tables coming in.
Yes, we have 6 tables, and it's just an ideal venue to set them out because it's so open.
Yeah.
And we have the live streaming as well, so people at home that can't get here to the club can watch it.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely ideal. It's it fits together nicely. There's so many people well experienced in Tasmania that actually chip in to run the tournament. Some of the best organisers, best people behind it. So it's just so very pleasing. And of course, Ron Atkins, he was such a great guy and a great friend of the fraternity in Tasmania. He was always helping somebody in the game, in fact nationally. And his wife Leanne, she'd really love to be here even tonight, but unfortunately she's currently working in Canberra.
Yep. And
she's unable to be here, but she'll be here for the Classic. Yep.
So Charlie's got an opener here into the centre pocket.
Nice.
And he's off again.
He's away.
That's a good view of Charlie's bridging now. See that centre finger just tapping away as he plays the shot.
Yes. So has Charlie come from a snooker and billiards family? And has he been brought up on tables or?
No, it's no. Charlie's an only child. Parents didn't play at all, and I think one fateful day he walked into a snooker room called the Red Triangle in Fitzroy, and one of the other team members, Anna Lynch, took him under a wing and taught him the game. And as a 14-year-old, he was knocking balls in everywhere, and really made a name for himself as a young kid. And he's just developed from there. He's obviously surrounded by some great players in Victoria.
Yeah.
I know he spent some time playing with the Mifsud boys. That's a fantastic shot from Charlie. That'll be in his next book. I know it was Cale to play that shot. But yeah, look, Charlie's from a very young age was doing some fantastic things on the table and getting some results in open tournaments against the men. And his game's just blossomed. Obviously picked up an Australian Open title at Mount Pritchard against Matthew Bolton in the final.
Is Charlie going around in the Atkins Classic? Do you know?
Yeah, we got confirmation just earlier from Robert that he has put his entry in, which is
excellent.
Which is great, yeah.
He'll be well worth coming to see.
So you might see some of these camera angles here. Our broadcasting, they're testing a new camera today, so you might see the odd shot with the camera moving. It's a good bit of gear. It's able to zoom in and see the crowd and rotate. A different perspective to the usual one camera setup.
Yes, well, it presents very well on the television screen. It's clear, very clear to follow.
Carl's just rolled it in, left himself a straight red.
Yes, it was very surprising he missed that easy green down the bottom pocket, the shot before. That was a significant surprise.
Yeah. He's hit that well.
Nice position.
So be just checking the red at the bottom of the pack there to see if it does go into the bottom left-hand side. There is a red he can cannon into just to get onto that red. So he's playing just below centre here. He's missed the red. Hopefully it's still on.
He's beyond it, I think.
Yeah.
You think so? Yes.
He was hoping to cannon into that red on the right-hand side there. He might have placed with a touchless side to throw it in.
How's he going to get the wide out of here? Oh, he's just running through a good shot. Now he's got a fair angle to move a few reds out.
Yeah. He won't be happy with that. He's missed the pack. So Charlie will be left with a safety. I want to miss that green ball.
I heard you mentioning a while ago about the table, the history of the table. It does go back, I don't know the history, but I notice it's a different table, the legs are different.
Yeah, it is.
The frame seems to be different.
I'm a
English.
bit of a historian on tables, so I did have a bit of investigation of the table. It's, what interested me was the skinny legs. You know, obviously that was a transition phase between wood bases to slate bases. The table was a Thurston table. They're a Liverpool UK company. So as soon as I saw the legs, I had to do a bit more investigating and check the plaque on the table, and it does read, you know, Her Majesty, which was Queen Victoria, who reigned from 1837 to 1901. So the table is definitely in a period of 1837, and I think it's probably up to 1850. So it's about a 13-year range, just looking at the legs.
So highly likely that came out to Tasmania on some of the same ships with the convicts.
Possibly, yeah. It's you don't see many tables like that. I dare say it's one of the oldest tables in Australia. Thurston's patented the slate, I believe, in 1824, and Alcock's, so Henry Upton Alcock, I believe, started using slate around the 1840s, 1846. I believe they were knocking down old houses and reclaiming the slate for billiard tables. So there's a bit of history for the viewers.
Yes, well, I'm very pleased to ask you that question. I, it's just another one of the 4 tables that we have here at the club.
Yeah.
And of course this one gets played on the most.
Yeah. And the tables in the other room, they're quite old tables too. Yeah, they're all cock tables, and they're great tables. Table 2 is a fantastic looking table, especially. So there's not much happening in this frame. We've got nearly all the colours on the cushions.
And Kale's got a slight break this time round.
Yeah. So we could be heading towards a scrappy frame here.
Now this is a very rare event to see Charlie standing there studying up the shot.
Yeah, well, he's on a colour, and what colours to do. He's just trying to work out what to move and what not to. So he's trying to get up behind the yellow here.
Might have done a good job of it.
There we are. Yeah.
Brilliant shot. Brilliant.
So he's got a big target though. Got this red sitting next to the right hand cushion. I dare say that would be his target. The other reds are 2 open, and he potentially leave a red up if he does attempt that.
Yes, even if he does hit this one on this cushion,
Yeah.
he'd probably prefer to hit it going back the other way.
Exactly, yeah. Even if he gets on it with dead weight, he'll be okay. Yeah. So that would be put back by Charlie. There's not much happening on this table. I dare say Kale will be here for a while until he does hit a red. And there's an example of that new camera angle.
I like that new camera angle.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
Going for the
Big
other
target
reds.
though. That wasn't the intention. He did have
No.
a little bit of check side on that to straighten it up, but it didn't come into effect.
Here's another good opportunity for Charlie.
Yeah. So let's maybe try and get the pink on the centre here. Just got that blue to contend with his body, so he'd be getting the rest out. He's going to screw back a little bit for the pink into the centre. Then he's got a couple of reds towards the bottom left-hand pocket. Oh, he hasn't come low enough on this pink, so be interested to see how he plays this.
It's very interesting to see how these other colours are all lined up down this side rail.
So just play for that loose red at the bottom of the pack there, into the corner pocket.
And the pink looks like he'll probably go on his spot there. A tight fit.
Yeah. So we've got a new referee, Brendan's
he's
taken
put him
over
on
the
the black.
refereeing. He's gotten away with that.
Wow.
So Kale holds an 11-point lead in this frame. Charlie leads the match 2 frames to 1.
Now there's not a lot of opportunity here, so he'll be looking to play safe, do you think, or do you take that red on to the centre pocket?
If he does take the red on, he won't be leaving much if he does miss. Oh, he's played a double. Kale obviously has a pull background, plays a lot of 2-shot pull, so
Yes.
quite happy to take that double on. He has left a chance here for Charlie, but it's only really the pink and the brown available in colours. He'll roll through for this brown.
Yes.
He won't want to be straight on this brown. A little bit of angle to come up for the other red here. A touch of right hand side.
Things are a little difficult there at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not an easy shot down the rail.
Yeah, these pockets they're not too generous there.
Well,
as you can see there.
yeah, particularly that pocket is very
Yeah.
can bring you undone many a time.
So 5 points of difference here, and the colours where they are, it's, I dare say it's going to come down to the pink and black.
He may well be playing for another double.
Yeah, there's not much you can really do here. Both reds tied up.
Kale plays a lot of 8-ball as well. I think we'll be seeing a safety shot here.
Yeah, he's just seeing where he can leave this white ball. There's a fair bit of traffic for him here with a safety shot. He's playing below centre. He's taking another. That's a good shot. He's played the triple there, knowing that the black will cover the red. He might have left that just on.
Wanted have to play this with a rest.
Yeah.
Look out. The balls are not in the easiest of positions for a break to finish the frame. Be hard work from there.
Charlie be taking his pink on here, not really worried about the red too much. He's just seeing where he can leave the white for a decent safety shot. He obviously might be attempting to get that red out from where it is. He's playing off 2 cushions by the looks of it. That's what he's looking at now. So he decided against the pot. Unfortunately, hit that too hard. Very big target for Cale to land behind here with the blue and the yellow. Charlie won't be happy with that shot.
No. Will Cale be looking to put the white down behind the blue and yellow?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a dead weight shot. He just has to miss the yellow with the red and... like that.
Yes.
That's a good shot and a good lesson there for beginner players. Charlie took more than one cushion there. It sounds funny, but it's easy to see the angles with 2 or 3 cushions rather than one cushion escape. Every cushion you hit does close the angle down to hit the red. Most players would have attempted that off 1 cushion. Just seeing if there's a gap behind the blue here.
Yes. You just poke the red down past that white ball. Another snooker, I suspect.
No. He's playing it thin, just past the yellow. And that's a great camera angle there.
It's going to be a tough encounter the rest of this particular frame.
Yeah. Majority of the colours are on the cushions. Obviously yellow and blue are tied up.
I can't see any one player making a break from here. It'll just be ball by ball.
Yeah. So that will be put back, obviously, with all the balls where they are. Kale won't be interested in coming back to the table at all while that red's still on the cushion. Got Brendan Taylor just respotting the white there. Once again, we see the new camera angle here. That's not too bad. It's another tempting dead weight shot here to put the white behind the blue again. It's a tough shot over that distance, so you have to be cueing well. Especially off the cushion. Yeah, he's decided not to take that on. It was too risky.
This may present an opportunity for Charlie.
Yeah.
When you're ready.
So we're just getting some more updates from the other games at the moment. So Robert's just going to jump on and gives an update from the other room. In this current match we have Charlie leading 2 frames to 1 and Kale holds a 15
change in the commentary team, so I'm jumping back in with Grant. So it's a big thanks to Lionel Young, who you've been listening to. Just an update in the billiard room. David Cosgrove, this is probably a couple of minutes ago, leads Steve Cowie, 185 to 182 with around about 18 minutes to go in their 1 hour billiards game. Mark Hudson just got up on the black ball to be 2-all with Darren Sager, and Darren Royal leads Grenville Brown of Northwest Coast. Early stages of that match, about 40 minutes to go, 75 to 37. So what's the state of play, Grant?
Yeah, so Charlie just fluked the red there, and in a very scrappy frame. Most of the colours have been on the cushions for this frame. He's got a tricky blue on here, but where the colours are, not much value. So he's elected to take a safety shot on there, and he's fluked the brown.
Safety himself.
Yeah. So that's 2 in a row. Yet again puts his hand up towards Carl, apologises. So with a green safe here, I dare say you'd be having a go at this.
Yep. So I'll just jump back into the commentary team. As I say, we're broadcasting live at our Launceston Workers Club in Tasmania. Grant Medley in commentary with me. It's Rob Higgins from Hobart. Carl Barrett and Charlie Chafer playing a best of 5, so a race to 3. This is the final match in the 47th Andrews Atkins Shield. Victoria can't lose the Shield. They were leading 29-16 after the last night's games and this afternoon's sessions, and they pretty much wrapped it up. But it's been an interesting weekend. We've seen some terrific snooker by some rising stars. Talking about Alex Pace, who was just fresh off his Oceania win, under 21 snooker championships in New Zealand a few weeks ago. And of course we're going to see some of these guys back in action here in a few weeks' time when we host the Ron Atkins Pot Black Tasmanian Open Snooker Championship. So I think everybody's looking forward to that. And that was an interesting shot. Great.
That was a fantastic shot, yeah. A better outcome than he expected. Yeah, he was quite happy just to hit the yellow, but to produce that shot back, he'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, he'd be happy with that one every day of the week.
He's left a bit of a swerve shot here. He's playing a little bit of drag behind the brown. Not much he could do with that there.
So where's this yellow going?
Yeah.
It's going to get dropped safe. This table is a little slow, but we would expect this in a few weeks' time. It's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah. Look, it's had a lot of play, this table, and I'm sure with a good iron and brush it'll play quite well. The cushions are nice on the table.
I think because it's in the open space, so if you can imagine the Launceston Workers Club is quite a large open club, and this table's down near the bar area, whereas the billiard room, which has got its own heaters, the table's a bit quicker, and this one here is kind of a general play, but certainly we'll be smarting up for the next major tournament we've got here.
Yeah, look, obviously being such a big area, when the temperature drops at night time too, it does slow the tables up. Charlie's going to play a pot here. That's a great pot.
With a lot of authority. So we're getting a bit tight on the scoreboard. Obviously,
Yeah.
Carl needs to win this frame to level a match at 2.
Yeah, it'd be good to see this match go down to the final frame and have both the number 1 players playing at a decider. Obviously, the result for the Andrew Atkins Shield has been decided, but it's always nice to have some contest at the end here. And hopefully a final win for the Tasmanians.
Yeah, and we'd probably like to stay on here just to talk about some other stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
We need to get through some things. Up in the top left-hand corner of your screen is Reventon, which is the major sponsor of a lot of Q Sports activities in Australia. So Chris Christofi will be down here in March. He's got to be a player in the tournament, and obviously we look forward to him in the commentary team. Did a fantastic job last year. And then starting from the 28th to the 31st of March, we're hosting the second playing of the Ron Atkins Classic. Entries are quite strong at this stage, but they are closing in a few days.
Yeah.
This is a finalist, so it's called the players that might have been on the periphery thinking about it. Get down to Tasmania, the weather's still pretty good. We're in daylight savings. This will be a nice venue, and we hope to see the cream of the Australia's echelon snooker players, particularly Matty Bolton. I'd like to think he'd come back and defend his title, and ditto Steve, the Misfit boys.
It's a bit of a wild shot there from Cale.
Yeah, so it's fair to say there's been a few free swings in this match. It hasn't been flowing.
With 8 points of difference here, obviously the crucial ball on the screen would be the blue to the pink, bit of distance and the blue on the cushion, so I dare say that will come to play at some stage. He just wants to miss the centre pocket here. A little jaw, and he's left a shot to nothing here. He can play this shot, and it'll be tough to hold the brown. Yeah, he's just having a look at the angle.
Gives you a nice angle perspective on what's
Yeah.
going on there, so that's a good shot.
Yeah, for those viewers, as I said, we're just testing some new technology with the cameras here, so you will see certain shots like this, and it's an experiment, and so far it's gone well. It's given us some great shots of the players at the table and what angles they're faced with.
Yeah, absolutely. As Grant correctly identified, just going through a process of upgrading the equipment to make sure we've got first-class facilities, because that way that when whatever we send you out in a live stream, you get a nice picture.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what app you're watching it on, or your TV or your iPad or whatever.
Yeah. So the score on the screen's reflecting the 15-point lead, so only the blue required here, so you won't want to do too much of it. It just drops it in, and that
So
will
we can
secure
trust the
frame.
score, because
Yeah.
we ran into the first or the
Yeah.
second frame with but I'm sure Salty's all over it at this stage, so we have to see what we believe. Just the reason I'm saying this is Grant and I are sitting back in the lounge, well away from the playing arena, so we're watching the TV. And I'm thinking, what's happening?
So 20-point lead, that's 2 snookers, and surprised to see Charlie back at the table here. This want this to slow down. Not a bad attempt there.
Just kicked up, but it was a good attempt. Very good attempt.
So it's unusual to see players come back to the table with pink and black left with 2 snookers required.
Yeah, it's generally the one snooker scenario, but maybe Charlie's hoping for the cheap error, and he can pinch this frame somehow. Stranger things have happened.
Be carefully and off here. He's played that the other way. So obviously Charlie's keen to finish this match as soon as possible, and he wants to battle on with the pink and black for a while. Carl's a very experienced opponent. He won't be doing anything to jeopardise that white ball going in pocket.
For those of you who just tuned in late, we're watching the tail end matches of the 47th Andrews Atkins Shield
First played in 1973 at the Bentley Club, played in honour of two great statesmen of the game of snooker in Australia, the late great Ron Atkins, OM, who passed away in August 2017. Harry Andrews, very much still alive and kicking. We saw a photo of him this afternoon, which was sent to us by Ian Dale. So the other half of the Andrews Atkins Shield combo is still going, and we hope he goes for a few more years. The 50th playing of this is going to be held in 2022, we believe, at the RACV Club. And I'm hoping, like you, Grant, I hope we're there, and we're part of all that grandeur and all that sort of stuff. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'd be great. And the RACV Club, it's a fantastic venue. It's be a great spectacle, and it'd be good to see some of the past players from both states turn up and celebrate their achievements. So this frame continues.
You often see this in some other matches, particularly, but you always see it in early stages where they're trying to drag the opponent down because he's won the frame effectively. Yes, if something radical happens, that's not unusual to, because the guy wants to get off the table and make it 2-all, but meanwhile the other player says, "Hang on, I'll just keep you bobbing."
Yeah, it's I wouldn't say that's in Charlie's game though. It's very
No,
unusual.
you're right. We just thought that when the blue was potted, that was it.
Yeah. With Charlie, I'd actually expect the opposite. He'd want to get on with the game and can start the next frame.
You might see at the bottom of the screen there that Vi Financial is the major sponsor of Q Sports in Tasmania, or the Tasmanian Billiards and Snooker Association, and for the first time ever, all of the three affiliates in Tasmania, so the North, South and the Northwest region, which is the first time in my memory, and I've only been involved for a short time of 41 years, so first time we've managed to lock in sponsorship like that, so that's terrific. Zach Brakey and the crew, hopefully you get to see the YouTube of this, and just knowing that thanks very much for your support. We're going to do whatever we can do via this medium, the live streaming, and our lead heads and badging, and even getting our players to wear logos and all that kind of thing. So without sponsor dollars, we just can't do stuff. So it's really, really important we get new people on board, and this is a new sponsor for us.
Yeah, sponsors are obviously very big parts of snooker and billiards in Australia, and it's great that the three associations have got one primary sponsor now to support the game in Tasmania. It's nice for the players to continue this frame and obviously give the sponsors more exposure too, Robert.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I'm not too disappointed with this outcome, even though we do know the outcome, which would be 2-all. We're waiting for that 2-all figure to cover. But you and I have watched enough snooker to know that there's can only be one winner of this frame unless something bizarre happens.
Such as that.
And that's the end of that. So it's 2 frames all, so fittingly we've got a final frame between 2 of Australia's top players, Carl Barrett, Tasmanian snooker champion, defending champion, playing Charlie Chafe, one of Australia's top ranked players. We're getting to the tail end of the 47th Andrews Atkins Shield being played out of Launceston, Tasmania. My name is Rob Higgins from Hobart, and in commentary with Grant Medley joining me. Grant, a regular visitor to Tasmania, and particularly this tournament over the last few years, and obviously going to be a familiar face for years to come. So.
Yeah, I always enjoy my trips down here and saying hello to everyone and watching some good snooker and billiards and enjoying the hospitality of the Tasmanian Association.
Just as an aside, and I can't think how many years ago it is, but Grant saved me from a bit of a tricky situation when I was refereeing a very famous, well, I will say it was a famous match, it wasn't an infamous match, but an Oceania billiards match between Robbie Falvari and Matthew Bolton. It was the first time they'd ever played, and Robbie was well on top of Matthew, and we had a bit of a tricky decision about a cannon, and Grant had his camera going and was filming and was kind enough to send me the DVD later, and a fine brush of a cannon turned 147 break into 542 and turned that whole match on its head. And its history would now show that Matthew went on to win that particular championship that year. And yeah, so Grant, thanks for that. The crowd were very supportive. Referees can often be out of position, and I was on that occasion, so I relied on a few wingman, and you were there.
Yeah, look, it's always a tricky situation, especially when the players are at top of the table. Trying to keep concentration, and that was a pivotal point of that match. Robbie had quite a hefty lead at the interval, and Matthew came to the table after the interval and was on a decent break of 140 odd, and the cannon did occur, and the right outcome did happen. Matthew did knock that large break in at 500 odd and did go on to win that match. It was great to see Robbie playing again. Obviously he doesn't play as much now, and it was good to see those two guys battling out on the table, and both were in form at the time too. Yeah,
absolutely. And of course Robbie went on to become part of the face of the Goldfields commentary team, which is great. He played in this event not this particular event, but he has played at this tournament over the time, but he played in the Ron Atkins Classic last year, and he's entered for the one coming up at the end of the March, so it'd be great to catch up with him again. Obviously a gifted curist in both billiards and snooker.
Cal Barrett's just come over the commentary box and just coming out to check to see what's happening, and the technology now.
He's got a big smile on his face because I tipped him a couple of winners today, so he's finished. He finished positive with the tabs and the totes, so everybody's had a big smile on their face today.
Yeah. See what the final frame. The two boys will exchange pleasantries and enjoy the last frame, shake hands, and off we go.
We're live at the Launceston Workers Club in Tasmania for the 47th playing of the Andrews Atkins Shield. This Shield event first played in 1973 at the Bentley Club. Dominated by the Victorians, they lead 40-6 in head-to-head competitions, but there have been some close matches over the years. This year was a little bit tight earlier, where a couple of matches could have swung Tassie's way, but they've dominated. They had a pretty impressive lineup and just proved to be superior this year.
Yeah,
we've had a great time. The event's actually not over, because tomorrow we have the obligatory catch-up on the Sunday, so we're doing something a little bit different. We're wining and dining at one of the top-notch eateries around the Launceston area, so looking forward to that. And our Victorian visitors will fly at about 5:30, but obviously some we'll see again at the end of March for the big tournament that's coming up. So get your entries in if you haven't entered. Just a reminder, it's the Ron Atkins Pot Black Tasmanian Open Snooker Championship. Going to be played at this very club, the Launceston Workers, from Thursday, March 28 to Sunday, March 31st. Of course, the tournament named in honour of Ron Atkins, the legend, OAM, passed away in August 2017. But this year, the extra string to the bow is the Pot Black, which traditionally has been played in South Australia or Queensland, but Consolidated Leisure and Sports, so that's Ray and Max Atwell, come on board, and they've joined in with a promo for this year's event, which is great. We've had some cash injection, and we hope this tournament can grow not only in status with its double ranking points, but also the monetary side of things, because it's not cheap. Calendar's very cluttered, a lot of back-to-back tournaments.
Yeah, it is a busy calendar these days, and from my point of view, I've seen a lot of clubs and venues, and I'd very much encourage players to come down for this event, because the tables are fantastic. There's 2 more tables going in, so there'll be 6 tables. The surroundings are brilliant. Plenty of cafes and restaurants around. Beautiful park across the road. Very nice place, Launceston. So if anyone's thinking about coming down, I'd highly recommend coming down and checking the venue out. The hospitality by the association down here is second to none. So Cale's got a little break happening here. He's got a tricky...
Just awkward. Just enough to be awkward.
So Okay, with the first opportunity in this final frame. He's currently on a 12 break. He's got a couple of reds here. He would like to take that red and get behind the black.
This always makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how skilled a player you are,
So
obviously.
hitting down on the ball.
Yeah, there's a lot of margin for error for these type of shots. It's not as easy as what it looks.
And as a referee, obviously once the equipment comes out, the referee's eyes are focused on the cue over the red.
Played it pretty well. It looks like there's a little short angle from our TV angle.
Yeah, he's just seen if that bottom red on the pack there does go below the red. He might have a sliding of the stun across. To take that red at the bottom of the pack. Obviously didn't. So he's taking the open red.
A bit of a show here is look, scoreboard pressure early in the final frame is everything. So if you can dash in the available reds, they look to be maybe another loose one if you can play it right, and then sneak away for cover. And you've got your 30-point lead, and that's a half a frame really. In the old mathematic terms.
So he's got some work to do here to get on this red. If the red goes past the pink into the centre pocket, it won't be too bad. He's just checking that now. He's obviously still got that red at the bottom of the pack there, which might be handy to open the pack a little bit.
He's forced long, but that's all right. He's doing all right.
He didn't go past the pink, so he'll be taking this red down to the bottom yellow pocket if it doesn't go past the pink into the centre.
He's got a little bit of a flow here.
Yeah, so that's a good shot. He realised if he missed that red, he wouldn't leave any reds on.
Yep.
He wanted a little bit of angle on this black here. Just rolling through for the red into the centre pocket, which he is. So the break moves to 36. And he won't be happy with that result. It's a little bit wide from Charlie at this stage of the match. His arm's definitely going, so there's no excuses for that miss.
No, quite right. So as you can see on the top, just Carl queuing now. It's just the 47th Andrews Atkins Shield being played at the Launceston Workers Club in Tasmania. We're in the last few frame, well this is the last frame of this match. Up on the top table, Mark Hudson and Darren Sager were locked at 2 frames all when I came into the room a little while ago. That's a good shot by Carl. David Crossgriff had a narrow lead over Steve Cowie from Tasmania, and meanwhile the other match was too early to call. I left that about 40 minutes ago, so I'm guessing probably a 20-minute mark. So I'm hoping someone can give me a quick update shortly as they wander past, but I'm sitting here on a lounge well away from this table that you'll see with Grant Midley in commentary, and that's a foul of the miss.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what he was attempting there. It's that angle is nowhere near the reds. It was an interesting approach. I thought he would have been taking it 2 cushions. He's could be a bit of an exhibition here. He realises the day's won. That's a good shot.
Yeah, that's a great shot. Class shot. He hasn't left the ball on, so it's one for Carl to play an escape. Probably should get up beyond the brown or the green, although he's looking at something else. Maybe that one is in the middle. Jumped in a bit too soon.
Yeah. If it does go, once again he can play this shot and know he won't leave a red up if he does miss.
Yep. played pretty well. He's got some serious scoreboard pressure happening now. His opponent's stranded on 0. Meanwhile, Cale's at the table. And if you can promote a red here, he didn't need to do anything because he's got this loose red.
At this stage of the match with that lead, it's good to take the loose reds and try not to force any reds and disturb any reds.
As soon as we give someone a wrap and
that's the commentator curse.
that's why I stopped.
Yeah.
Used to do it plenty of times. We're always saying they're going to go for this and this is a certainty, and sure enough they miss it.
Yeah. So obviously this frame's a little bit more pleasant to watch. All the colours are available, or on their spots at least. The reds are still tied up, so there'll be a bit of safety play for a few shots here.
Yep. So 73 points available. Cale's on 49 leads. So you think it's a slight favourite, but I mean, if those reds were to be disturbed, because as you said before, apart from the pink, which is surrounded by those reds, it's still very much alive.
That's not a bad shot, Robert.
No. Be happy to bank that one in every day of the week.
Yep.
And Salty's done a great thing for us there on the right-hand side of your screen. You can see coming up March 28 to 31 in Launceston, Tasmania, is the Ron Atkins Pop Black Classic, Tasmanian Open Snooker Championship. Major sponsor, I should say, Reverton. So when we talk about them, we talk about Chris Christofi, who's the CEO and founder. We're going to be a player in this tournament, also a commentator, and was a former player in this particular Shield match, the Andrews Atkins Shield. So looking forward to catching up with Chris once again. Really good guy, doing some really good things with snooker in Australia. A little bit unlucky. Oh no, he's got lucky. Shot. That's because he's gone through.
He's actually forced a little bit of an angle there to go into the pack. Yep. It was quite straight, and it's worked out really well. He's got a couple of loose reds to work with here. He's got one more red after this black. It's loose, and then I dare say be disturbing that pack.
We could be in for a grandstand finish.
Yeah, he might go in the pack here with that red there. No, he's decided not to. Now this is a crucial shot. He's got to leave an angle here. Just seeing where the blue is. He might head down for the blue here. And he wants to land low on this blue and leave an angle, but he's come out straight. You can see the body language from there. He's very
straight away.
So what Charlie was trying to do there was land low on the blue and leave an angle to go into the reds. Not much you can do here apart from roll the blue in and start again.
Look, an idea. So when we were talking about it earlier about the pace of this particular table, because it's open, like it's cloth, like anything like carpet, just has that moisture and just takes out probably the extra 6 or 8 inches of roll that you need. Thankfully, he hasn't done a lot of damage there, but it was a pretty loose shot, I have to say.
Yeah, he tried to take the thin side of the right-hand side of the pack there. I think he was a bit worried if he took the left-hand side of the reds, he'd be pushing those reds towards the bottom right-hand pocket.
Yep. Carl's going to chance his arm here. He's figuring this is hard up on the cushion. He needs sweet contact.
And that's a bad miss from Hale there. He's left Charlie with a starter once again.
So you're watching Carl Barrett of Tasmania, who's the Tasmanian snooker champion, playing one of Australia's top-ranked players in Charlie Chafe of Victoria. I think Charlie would be a little disappointed there. My angle, my eyes deceiving me. He meant to be higher.
I think he would have won another 3/4 of a foot on that black there. He would have landed high and well, that bottom red goes.
Back red, Yep.
So hopefully you can see that red past the pink. Soon see if he goes down. He does straight away. No problems. It's obviously sometimes a bit deceptive on our screen. That red passed easy, and he's got a tricky pink here with the rest.
Well, it's definitely frame on. It's
Yeah.
suddenly the scoreboard is coming back a bit better for Charlie. It was looking a little bit bleak there for a while when he was
Yeah.
49-0 and everything to play for.
Yeah, he just had an incident with the light shade there, Robert. He banged his head on the light.
Oh, I didn't catch that. It was a Tasmanian trap we lay.
Yeah. It's not the typical headache he's used to these weekends, but
Okay. Yes, there has been occasions over in these shields going over the years where there's been a lot of activity on the table and a lot off the table, but everybody lived. Everybody's had a good time.
That's
There's been
exactly
some
right.
good stories.
yeah. What happens in Tasmania stays
In Tasmania. And there's been plenty of stories in Victoria
Yeah.
too, I can tell you. It's quite.
So Charlie's really close to this red here, and he'll be playing away very thin. The pot may be on. It's hard to tell from this angle, but
Gonna
this
be
is a great angle. Look at this.
very thin, and he's got very. I don't think he could have got it any thinner, but he's.
Yeah, it was
It's
hard.
come out all right.
With the jigger hitting down on the board, so it's hard to judge the thin shots.
Yep. So just in case you've arrived home late, there's 2 frames all in a best of 5 frames, so obviously a race to 3. It's the last couple of matches in the 47th playing of the Andrews Atkins Shield in Launceston, Tasmania. This year sponsored by Vi Financial, the major sponsor of the Tasmanian, Southern, Northern and Northwestern Associations. So big shout out to Zach Brakey, franchisee. Also give a big hello to Craig Brakey, who's the new patron of the Tasmanian Billiards and Snooker Association, and also Rex Swain, who was recently re-elected as Tasmanian President again for another 12-month term. And I know Rex, like myself, and a few others are looking forward to the big tournament coming up at the end of the month, and entries close in a couple of days' time, in fact on the 10th. So I'm not sure whether we're having extension of entries. We did so last year when they paid a slightly higher rate, but I'd encourage anybody that's half thinking about entering, as Grant said before, which he covered really, really well. Great place, Launceston. I'm from Hobart. But there's some terrific sites and attractions here in Launceston. So do yourself a favour, come down, even if you just come down and you have a look and you play for this year. And if you like what you see, well, we can build on the tournament in years to come. Got great government support this year in Events Tasmania.
It's a bit of safety here. It's
Yep.
the red's in the centre of the table, and you see Charlie might be playing a shot to nothing here. There's a chance it might go in the pocket, in the bottom right hand pocket. He's had a go at that. Obviously, he's left the red on here just past the
looks
blue.
on, but there's a lot of grass between there and that red. But this is the type of shots that give Carl a live chance of potting.
Yeah,
He's got a free swing.
and there's not too much traffic for the white. That's not too bad.
No. Just looking to see if he can escape off that back red there,
Yeah, it's
just past the black.
So he's playing the thin side of the reds again. Obviously he's creating a figure 8 safety here. Hoping to get behind the brown. So there's some good area behind the brown and the green and the yellow there for safety play. Obviously where the reds are, they don't want to be hitting these reds too thick and moving the reds towards either of the bottom pockets.
So a bit of a cheerio to Steve Carroll, Jeremy Maguire, a few of the guys that have tuned in, Denny Main, brothers Dave and Les are online, partner Carol in Hobart, even the daughters are watching, so who would have known? So, so some people are watching snooker live coming out of Tassie on the Saturday night. I'm sure there's plenty of other competition going on. It'd be interesting to see how get our live stream stats out of tonight, because we only did this one particular match. But I know one fella to be tuned in is Daryl Tippett, who's been a mainstay in this particular tournament and been a regular player and a hero in a couple of years where he won some clutch matches.
Yeah. Just saw that last shot from Charlie there. He checked up the right hand side. It good safety shot. So there's a little bit of traffic here for Kale. He's got this red into the pocket, but obviously the two reds, there's a big chance of hitting those two reds, so I dare say he won't take this on. Playing the bottom red thin. And trying to use this yellow, green and brown to effect. So that's good pace there. He'll be happy with that shot.
Looks like he might. I don't think he's totally snookered,
Yeah.
but he's made it terribly awkward.
It does, yeah. I believe the centre red is hittable, but obviously he's got that other red to contend with. So you want to be getting around the back of this other red, which he has. He's done well there. Unlucky to hit that jaw, but it always seems to happen. It's amazing how big those centre jaws are when you're playing safety.
Yeah, you would think like in 12 feet and you've got
Yeah.
one little opening and it
Yeah.
catches it every time.
Yeah.
It's, well, here's Carl's big opportunity. I mean, really, this is
Yeah.
probably his to lose.
Yeah. So he's got a straight red here. The black's not available, so we screen back for another colour.
Just wants a little wick here so he can hold for blue, which is...
Plenty of options here. So a few more reds and colours. It's 15 points of difference. He'd want to be... he's taking a yellow here, so still be a bit of work after these colours and reds. He's left himself a medium red to the bottom right hand pocket here. Screen back just a little bit to be below the blue. And leave an angle to get to this final red. So I'm not too sure if that's straight or not, but
he's got an angle. It looks
he would have
horribly
liked an
straight,
angle.
although this gives us a bit of indication there might be just slightly off centre. As you can see, we've got some new camera equipment and Salty or Andrew Saltmarsh and Q Sports has just doing a little bit of fiddling around. We're doing some fine tuning. Obviously, the big action is in a few weeks' time. We're playing the major national double ranking tournament, so I'd like to get this as right as we can and send you, everybody out there, a good picture. It doesn't matter what device or app you're watching on. Should be coming through all right.
So he's coming below centre here. He might be trying to tuck this white behind the black, which he has. And that's not a bad result considering. So we've got a 23-point gap at the moment. Charlie at the table. Charlie can see the edge of this red. Or you can see the whole red.
Ooh,
And,
he looked like he was going to be unlucky, but he's probably got lucky. He's just
Yeah.
punched it back enough.
probably see Cal go to his case here and get the long stuff out.
Yep.
There it is. And Brendan Taylor is our referee for the final frame.
And played a blinder last night against Jared Wicks. 3-2 finish on
Yeah.
a terrific clearance. Won a clutch match. Came from 2 frames to love down.
Yeah, it was an
Only
important match too. And, the scores at the time were quite level. It's, that was a turnaround, I believe, for the tournament.
Yeah, pivotal match in the thing. Jared looked like he
Yep.
sort of had things under control, even though there were some tight frames. But
Yeah.
Brendan showed a lot of class. Jared tried a nick on a red in the middle, and he almost overcut it, missed it
Yeah.
altogether, and the rest they say is history.
So Cal didn't have to do too much with that black there. It was a natural angle to get down for the yellow. The green's in a tricky location here. 24 points of difference, now up to 31. So got a commanding lead here in the final frame. I'm sure Cal's aware of the score and he'll be tucking up behind the pink here. Yes,
Yep.
he is.
So if Charlie's weighing it up and looking at the scoreboard, but my gut feel
Yeah.
tells me that he probably might be coming over and
Yeah.
shaking hands, might have a crack at a couple.
Yeah.
So you're watching Carl Barrett is the Tasmanian snooker champion, playing one of Australia's top-ranked players in Charlie Chafe
Yeah.
from Victoria. And
I think Charlie will be looking at the bar if he misses this green.
So when he does with his cue, I've seen all sorts of awful things
Yeah.
happen when players miss shots like that. But no, it's going to hang in there.
Yeah,
but
look, he might let Cale just pot the match out, and
Yep.
in the spirit of the game and the concept of the tournament, I'm sure he'll be happy just to pot a few more balls, or let Cale pot a few more balls and have a bit of fun. Bit of a crowd watching this match.
Yeah,
And there's the handshake.
there's the handshake. So this is a live stream match. You guys are watching. There are some other matches in progress. I might add, they might actually be concluded. So I'm just about to sign off here in Launceston. It's been my great pleasure to have Grant Matley sitting with me for a long period of time, talking about all things snooker. Great talking to you, Grant. Good to see you back in Tassie. And I'll see you probably in a couple of weeks' time at the Ron Atkins Pop Black Tasmanian Open Snooker Championship. You've just seen the conclusion of the 47th playing of the Harry Andrews Ron Atkins Shield. Won, or the trophy retained by the Victorian Billiards and Snooker Association. Their 41st win. Tasmania have a scoreline of 6, so in the 47 years, Victoria have won it 41 times. Won it comprehensively this weekend. We've seen some tip-top snooker. And I'll probably give the final word to you, Grant.
Yeah, thanks very much, Robert. And I think on behalf of the Victorian Association, I'd like to thank the Tasmanians once again for hosting this great tournament and the hospitality. Thanks to everyone at the Launceston Workers Club for their, the bar staff and everyone else involved in the club, putting on the great venue and obviously helping the Victorian team enjoy their time down here. Thanks again, and thanks very much.
Well done. Thanks, Grant. Signing off.